Hi and welcome to Knit with Hannah. I'm Hannah. Today I have a tutorial for you on how to knit bobbles. Hi and welcome to Knit with Hannah. I'm Hannah. I'm here with Knitting Natter to help you learn to knit the easy way. We're knitting bobbles today, and bobbles in amongst your knitting, not separately, because I do have a tutorial on how to knit bobbles separately. You can go and have a look at that here if you like, but today we are knitting them in the rest of your knitting. So like this is the bobble baby blanket. It's a great name for it. So here you can see that amongst all of the knitting we knit the bobbles as we're going along the row. So that's what I have for you today. Go and take a look at that demo. Let's get started. With bobbles all the way along the base here, and then bobbles along the side, we've got a really nice border. So I've just come across a row. It's the last time I'm going to do a bobble on either side. So what I'm going to show you is one method of knitting a bobble on this side, and then another method of knitting a bobble when I get to this side. So I'm right in the exact place where I need to knit the bobble. So I will show you that now. So we're going to KFBFB, which means knitting into the front of the stitch, then knitting into the back of the stitch. You see that? I just put the needle into the back loop of there. I'm going to knit that. Then I'm going to knit into the front. Again, it feels like it's stretching this stitch quite a bit. And then I'm going to go into the back of that loop one more time. There's that stitch, the needle going through that back part of the stitch there. So what I've created is 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches out of this one stitch that's still on the left hand needle. I can now drop that stitch from the left hand needle and move the knitting, and I need to purl those 4 stitches. Purl 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to turn it again and knit those 4 stitches. Knit 1. Now at the end here, just pull that nice and tight so you haven't got a really loose stitch on the end, and then knit 2, knit 3, knit 4. One more time we're going to turn it and purl 1, 2, 3 and 4, and now we're going to turn it last time, and this time we are going to reduce these 4 stitches of the bobble into 1 again. So we're going to do that by knitting 2 together twice. So the needle goes into these first 2 stitches and we knit them together, and we drop them off the left hand needle. We do that again, knit them together again, keep the yarn nice and tight here, and drop that off the left hand needle. Now we've got 2 stitches instead of 1, so we're going to pull this first stitch that we knitted together over the second one. So now we've gone from 1 stitch to 4 stitches and then back to 1 stitch, and that has created the bobble. Now if I just knit a couple of stitches, this next stitch after the bobble, I always pull it that little extra bit tighter, just to make sure that the bobble isn't too loose as it sits there. And you can see there, that's nice and tight, and it sits nice and tightly as you knit further. It can feel a bit awkward, especially the next couple of rows, and you think, oh, this isn't holding its shape, but actually once you've gone a few more rows, it looks very impressive. So now I'm going to knit all the way along the rest of this row until I get to the point where I'll show you the next method of knitting a bobble. Okay, so I'm right in place to make the bobble on this side. So I'm going to show you how to do it. I find it a simpler way, especially when I get to this stage of the knit. I'm carrying a lot of weight here, so turning and then turning back and turning back, especially if I'm sitting and this is all on my lap and the weight is really there. Here, sitting at the table, it's taking the weight for me, so it doesn't really matter. But it can feel difficult to hold this as I'm knitting. So what I've come up with is a way to knit the bobble without turning 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So let's get to that now. We're going to start in exactly the same way. We're going to knit F, B, F, B. Front, back, into the front of the loop, and knit into the back of the loop one more time. There. Okay, so we've made 4 stitches from 1. Now what I'm going to do is purl these stitches from the wrong direction. So I'm not looking at it from this side, I'm looking at it from this side. So when you're purling, as if I was purling on this side, your needle, or the left hand needle here, will go into the back of that loop. That will look like a purl stitch. And then the yarn will go over the needle like that. Did you see that? I've got 4 stitches to show you. So we do this again. I'm going to go into the back of that loop from the wrong side, and then the yarn is going to go round like that. So it looks as if I'm knitting. I'm just sitting here going, oh, and that goes over the needle. But I'm not putting it over this needle. I'm putting it over this needle instead, okay? So then that goes over. So that's second purl stitch. Then I'm going to go into the back of that stitch and make it like a purl over that needle and over, and then the last one over the needle, and that's the 4 stitches. And now we're ready to knit, so I can easily knit from this side just as I did before. 2, 3, 4, and now I need to purl them again. So I'm going to go into the front of that stitch. If I can just hold it, there you are. There you go. Into the front of that stitch, but it's actually the back. If I was purling, it would be the front. There you go. Into that stitch as if I'm purling it from the other side, and then into that stitch as if I'm purling it from the other side as well. Okay, so we've done KFBFB, we've done a purl row, we've done a knit row, we've done a purl row, and now we just need to do exactly as we did before. Knit 2 together twice, hold them nice and tight, and then move that first knit 2 together over the second knit 2 together, and that's your bobble. I'm going to just knit 2 stitches nice and tightly, and then I'm going to knit normally to the end of the row. And they don't look any different because we're doing the same stitches, we're just doing them from a different angle. There you go, that's the bobble on this side and that's the bobble on that side. Don't they look very similar? They're just knitted with the same stitches but just from a different side of the knit. So if you like to knit this blanket, then go and get the pattern. The pattern is available in my shop, and so is the knit kit. If you're in our postal area, you can get the kit. What you'll get is 3 balls of this yarn. You can choose different colours. There's lots of different colours available. So you can already see here, this is a white with the blue flecked in it. And we have the individual white and blue as well. And you may be thinking, why are those colours? Well, this is Billie Jean yarn from Wool and the Gang, and that's another blue one. And what this is a upcycled denim from the factory floor. When I've been sitting there making jeans all day, cutting out the fabric, what isn't used is then sent to be upcycled and made into this yarn, which I think is wonderful. I love that idea. So all of the yarns that are available in this Billie Jean yarn are denim coloured. So we have the undyed, and then we have this flecky one, which I absolutely love. It looks like a really 1970s pair of jeans, this one. And then there's your average stonewash jean. and then we have the white and the blue fleck together. So those are the 4 colours you can choose from, and this baby blanket is a lovely snuggle blanket size with just the texture on it to give a real interest, not just for the baby but also to just make it look a bit different. So this is an old pattern of mine and I've decided to make it into a kit, and I've upgraded the pattern so you can buy the pattern from a shop, and like I said, you need 3 balls of one colour, and you can knit up the blanket in your own choice of colour. And now you can do the bubbles quite easily as well. Okay, I hope that's nice and easy for you. Bubble knitting isn't so difficult as it looks. Great, so you can now knit a bubble. And I love this about knitting is that you can manipulate the stitches, and by increasing suddenly and decreasing suddenly, we give the knitted fabric that texture. So as you saw before, this is part of the bubble baby blanket. You can go and get this in a pattern form, in digital pattern, or indeed you can go and get the knitting kit as well. So go and take a look at that if you'd like to. That's all I've got for you today. I will be back with another cable tutorial next week. We're doing T3F and T3B. I always get confused where the number needs to be. I think it has to be in the middle. So it could be TB3 and TFB, but I think it's T3F and T3B. So it's a twisting bobble, that's what the T means, and I'll show you how to do that next week, because with the bobble, in this blanket, we have twisting cables as well. So amongst the cabling are the bubbles in this blanket, but we also have the twisting cables. So that's the tutorial that's going to help you knit up this baby blanket. Okay, so we'll be doing that next week. If you'd like to be notified when that video appears, then click on the subscribe button and hit the bell as well, because then YouTube will notify you. You can also get notified by joining my newsletter. I send an email every Tuesday along with a YouTube video, and it's got some extra inserts from my day as well, so you'll learn a bit more about the behind the scenes part of Knit with Hannah. So you can always join my email list too. There's always a form available over on my website, knitwithhannah.co.uk. So there you go. That's quite a lot of things to do, isn't it? Do subscribe, join the email list, and go and get those bubble blankets as well if you like them. Right, I will see you next week with those twisting cables. Thanks for joining me today. Bye for now. Happy knitting.